They ignored me. A truly scarring act. Many villains have been born due to potential social isolation, both fictional and all too real. Some of the most evil individuals alive likely spent their youths alone. I'm quite sure Daryl was made fun of as a child, likely bullied due to his odd penchant for causing insanely complex chain reaction events that inflict superficial harm to the mortals, whereas all the normal chaos entities would simply hit them with an inordinately large hailstone, killing their victims instantly. Perhaps on some level, Daryl and I are similar in this regard. He probably had trouble making friends and may have found some sort of company in attempting to harm me, given comfort from his relative isolation through my suffering. That, or he's just an asshat. This may come as a surprise to you, but I was not well liked as a youth. Save for a sparse few souls, I was largely excluded from most social circles. However, I don't particularly blame them for distancing themselves from me. I was, to put things in the simplest way possible, very strange. My already very present attention disorder combined itself with my bizarre habits over time to create an interesting concoction of a person that quickly inflicted social death upon even the slightest contact. Thus, save for a few souls who simply didn't seem to care about suffering the consequences, I was primarily alone outside of the home. However, the younger, far more excitable me wasn't about to take that lying down. In fact, I hardly even realized that was the case. As they say, ignorance is bliss, and I was hardly even aware that I was being isolated. However, I was aware that I was not popular. Fool that I was, I decided that needed to change. First, I had to formulate a plan. I had to come up with a way to impress the entire body of the third grade, thus facilitating my launch to immense popularity. Due to the immense creativity bestowed upon me by the 14 individual brain cells I was blessed with at birth, this was the easy part. I readied myself and made for the playground. Now, there's an important detail I must highlight about the playground of my primary school. The playground is divided into 2 tiers, and the lower of the 2 is separated by a 30-foot stacked brick wall. This, if any of you have noticed a trend in my tales, is essential to my plot. Due to the power of the aforementioned 14 brain cells I possessed and my extremely limited understanding of my physical capabilities, I assumed I would be able to climb the wall using only the small overhangs on each layer of bricks. This was, of course, frowned upon by the faculty. However, everyone knows that there's nothing as unfailingly cool as breaking the rules. I began my ascent up the wall, taking great care to make sure everyone was paying attention to my deeds of valor. Of course, this was noticed quickly by the supervisors, who began shouting at me to get down. The cheers of my peers filled my arms and legs with strength, and the shushing of my teachers would not quiet their enthusiasm for my abject foolishness. Remarkably, I actually made it up the wall. I stood at the top, triumphant. I turned to head back into the building, into the waiting arms of newfound popularity. But tragedy almost immediately struck. Another one of Daryl's plans, maybe even his greatest, had come to a climax. One of the students from the yard below, in an admittedly remarkable display of marksmanship, hit me with a dodgeball, and I fell forwards, eating wood chips upon my contact better than any woodchuck could. This, of course, resulted in total destruction of any popularity I had gained, and my social struggles continued until I would move less than a year later, where they would continue with a different cast. I never attempted to climb that wall a second time, but I did hit the other child with a dodgeball in return. He expected nothing.